This is the competitive games section. These fun and innovative games will allow you to work with players of all levels and handle groups of various sizes. In this 2-on-1 drill, the singles players are the challengers. When they have accumulated 3 points against a team of 2, they can replace the player of their choice on that court. When they lose the point, they go back to the basket that's positioned between the 2 courts. They rotate in to fill in spots vacated on either court. In this singles challenge game, 2 players on each court play 1 singles point out against each other. The winner stays and receives a point, and the loser returns to the back of the line between the net posts. The loser is replaced by the next person in line who brings the ball in play. The winner is the person who accumulates the most points after a designated amount of time. Here's the same basic challenge game, but here done with doubles. When an error is made, the team making the error is replaced by the team at the net, who brings the ball in play. In this Groundstroke challenge game, the players on the far side of the court are the challengers. For them to become the champ, they must win 3 points in a row. If they lose, they go back to the end of the line. This can also be done on half court if you have more players. In this drill, there's a pro on each court with a line of students who go to the end of the line after hitting 1 Groundstroke. The 2 courts can race against each other to a certain number of shots, or can try to set the record for the most consecutive shots. Here's a multiple court game played with half-court singles. The players compete half-court, keeping track of their score. When the pro yells switch, the players with the most points on each half-court move up 1 half-court toward the champion court, and the losing player moves down 1 half-court toward the dungeon. The object is to try to get to the champion court and avoid the dungeon. You can also play this game hitting cross-court. When the switch is made, both winners move up an entire court, and both losers move down an entire court. The players make sure they switch from the add side to the do side after each rotation is made, to avoid playing from the same corner every time. If you have 4 on a court, but want to work on singles, have them play in this manner. 2 players play full court singles. The player who wins the point can stay in for a maximum of 2 or 3 points if he continues to win. If a player loses a point, they must run up and touch the net post, or you can have them do a few push-ups or jumping jacks on the side. A fun team singles game can be played where the players hit 1 shot and return to the end of the line. The catch here is that they must exchange 1 racket. They must pass it off between points. Because players can cheat and hit forehands when playing half-court games, make them hit all backhands as they play the same half-court game. This is the old standard runaround, which everybody's played. But to make it different, you can handicap it by giving the stronger players fewer lives and the weaker players more lives to lose before they're out. To practice the footwork required in running back for a deep ball or a lob recovery, have 2 teams start at the net post, here on the right. The pro on the left feeds a high ball to either side. Both players run out and play the point out full court. In this half-court rushing game, all the challengers are competing against each other. They try to accumulate 3 points against either player on the far side. The first 2 to accumulate 3 go over and become champs. Everyone else goes back to 0. This is a great drill to move a large group. In this drill, the the players on the far side work on their drop shot. They hit short balls, practicing their drop shot, hitting them inside the service line. The two players on this side of the court hit the ball back deep to the baseliners, who again just work on their drop shot control. In this variation, the players on the near court hit just one ball deep back to the baseliners, who again are working on their drop shot. In both variations, you want to have the sides of the court, each half court, compete against each other to see who can get the most in a row. Here the players hit ground strokes to volleys, trying to see who can hit the most consecutive shots. They stay in until they miss. In this variation, the volleyers hit only one ball. This allows for team races or a longest rally contest. Here the players play out doubles points, with one team starting at the net and the other team starting back on the baseline. The team that won the previous point always comes to the net to start the next point. Only the team starting the ball from the net can win a point, much like volleyball scoring. Here's a fun game for the players, and it gets the pro involved too. Here the pro feeds a ball in play to the baseline team. They play against the net team. If they choose to hit a lob, the pro can get involved and play in too. This discourages the baseliners from always lobbing to try to win a point. In this 2-on-2 game, the volleyers must keep the ball beyond the service line. If not, they lose the point. This helps the volleyers work on deep volleys. We call this the Speedy volley game. In this reflex volley game, teams race up to a certain number. Once a miss is made, either teammate must run back to the basket to get the next ball to start the new rally. The players can run back and only get one ball at a time. They start the rally from where they last left off. For more advanced groups, you can play this bump the chump game. Here the pro starts the ball in play. The baseliner plays 1 point, then he moves to the back of the line, whether he wins or loses. Once a player accumulates 3 points, the players rotate, bumping the chump to the back of the line. Believe it or not, this game actually works, and it's an awful lot of fun, too. You can accommodate a large group. Here we use 8 players. Played as regular doubles, regular scoring, but you've got 4-on-4 with 2 players on the baseline, 2 players to the net on each side. The points will last an awful long time because any difficult shot is recovered by the baseline team. The only thing you want to do here is make sure that the net players step out of the way for the return to serve and let the baseliner play that. In this serve and volley game, the pro serves the first ball in play. The player next to the pro comes into the net and plays the point out cross-court with the returner. With a large number in your group, to keep them all moving, the players can go to the end of the opposite line. With an even number of players, the players can keep track of their score against a common opponent. When you have an odd number of players, see who can win the most points individually. You can also play this out as a team game, where the players stay in that same line and compete against the other team. Here's a similar game done with doubles. Again, the pro feeds the first ball in play, and the player next to the pro comes into the net. Teams keep track of the score and compete against each other. The rotation is used as you see here. In this game, the objective is to complete a certain shot sequence. Here we have a 4-shot sequence. First the serve, then the return of serve, the volley, and then the next shot. Here the players are not trying to win the point, but rather they're trying to keep the 4-shot sequence going. You keep your same partner every time, and when you get a 4-shot sequence, you get 1 point. You play against the other teams on the court. The most points wins.